Did you know that beneath our feet there may be entire cities that have been hidden for centuries? Entire civilizations that disappeared without a trace until time and archaeology brought them to light? Some were buried by natural disasters, others seem to have been intentionally erased from history. But what are these cities hiding from us? Today I'll reveal some of the most mysterious places that have remained buried for centuries, along with their shocking secrets. Stay until the end, because what you're about to discover will leave you speechless. Come on, let's explore the planet. 1. Pompeii, the city frozen in time. Imagine waking up one morning, seeing the sun shining on the cobblestone streets, hearing merchants offering their wares and children playing in the squares, not knowing that day will be the last for your city. That's exactly what happened in Pompeii on August 24th, 79 AD. For centuries, this city was a prosperous commercial and cultural center of the Roman Empire, with theaters, thermal baths, temples, and luxurious homes. But on that day, everything changed. Mount Vesuvius, a nearby volcano that had lain dormant for centuries, awoke with devastating force. Within hours, a burning cloud of ash and toxic gas descended upon the city, trapping its inhabitants in a volcanic stone tomb. What's most shocking is the way Pompeii was discovered almost 2,000 years later. The bodies of the people were perfectly preserved, as if time had stopped in their last seconds. But here's where things get more disturbing. Some corpses show expressions of terror, with their hands covering their faces or hugging their loved ones in a desperate attempt to protect themselves. Each lost city that comes to light gives us new clues about the civilizations that came before us, but also leaves us with more questions. How many more are waiting to be discovered? How many secrets still lie buried beneath our feet? And how different would our understanding of the past be if we knew the whole story? The most intriguing thing about these lost cities is not only their existence, but the fact that many of them disappeared without explanation. Entire cities with thousands of inhabitants that one day ceased to exist? Were they really destroyed by natural disasters, or is something else at play? Some theories suggest that great empires of the past may have erased records of rival civilizations to ensure no one remembered their existence, or perhaps some cities were connected with knowledge that was meant to be kept secret. The past is watching us, but are we ready to discover it? Today, with modern technology, we can uncover what remained hidden for centuries. Satellite images, ground-penetrating radars, and underwater explorations have revealed submerged structures, cities buried in jungles, and hidden underground passages. But what about the discoveries that have yet to be made public? It is said that there are cities mentioned in ancient texts that have yet to be found, such as the legendary Atlantis, the mythical city of Z, or even the remains of advanced civilizations that don't fit with the official line of history. Skeletons of people who tried to escape and failed have been found, stopped in the alleys by the rain of fire and stone. Inscriptions on the walls suggest that the inhabitants had already noticed warning signs such as tremors and changes in the water in the wells, but chose to ignore them. Was this just a natural tragedy, or was there something more behind Pompeii's destruction? Some researchers believe this city was destined to disappear because it represented the excess and decadence of the Roman Empire. In fact, there are records that the day before the eruption, festivals were held in honor of the god of fire, as if somehow the inhabitants already knew what was coming. And here comes the big question. Could no one really have predicted what was going to happen? Or did someone at the highest level decide that Pompeii should be forgotten? 2. Derinkuyu, Turkey's underground city. Now imagine you're renovating your house, knocking down a wall, and behind it you find a passageway descending into the unknown. This isn't a story from a movie, but what happened in 1963 when a man in the Cappadocia region of Turkey accidentally discovered an entire underground city. This incredible discovery revealed a network of tunnels and rooms carved into the rock more than 80 meters deep and capable of housing more than 20,000 people. And the most shocking thing, no one even knew it was there. But why would anyone build a city underground? As archaeologists explored Derinkuyu, they found surprising details: perfectly designed ventilation systems allowing fresh air to circulate at all levels, water wells independent of the outside world, ensuring its inhabitants could survive for months without leaving, huge stone doors weighing up to 500 kilos which could be locked from the inside to block access to intruders. All of this suggests that Derinkuyu wasn't just a temporary shelter bed, but a fully functioning city designed to withstand an unknown external danger. Here's where the story gets more disturbing. Some historians believe the city was used to protect against invasions, possibly from the Hittites or the Byzantines. Others suggest it was a refuge against natural disasters such as earthquakes or volcanic eruptions, but there's an even more disturbing theory. Some researchers believe Derinkuyu may have been built to hide from more than just invaders, something that came from the sky. Ancient texts from various civilizations mention stories of beings descending from the skies, forcing humans to take refuge underground. Could there be a connection between these tales and the construction of Derinkuyu? And the strangest thing of all is that this isn't the only underground city in the region. There are more than 200 similar structures in Cappadocia, many of them connected to each other by secret tunnels. Were these places built out of fear, for survival, or is there something we still don't know about the true purpose of these hidden underground cities? 3. Heraklion, the Egyptian Atlantis. For centuries, Heraklion was thought to be just a myth, a name mentioned in ancient Greek and Egyptian texts, but one that no one had been able to find. It was described as a majestic city located at the mouth of the Nile, full of temples dedicated to the gods and with a port that made it one of the most important of antiquity. However, at some point in history, it disappeared completely, as if it had never existed. But everything changed in the year 2000 when a team of archaeologists discovered its remains, submerged beneath the Mediterranean Sea near the coast of Egypt more than 1,200 years after its disappearance. What they found left everyone speechless: colossal statues of pharaohs and Egyptian gods perfectly preserved in the depths of the ocean, great stone temples with inscriptions that spoke of the city's greatness, treasures, jewels, weapons, and pottery, proving that Heraklion was an important center of trade and cultural exchange. But here comes the most disturbing part. No one knows for sure how or why it disappeared. The most accepted theory suggests that an earthquake or tsunami could have caused it to sink. However, there are no clear records of the event, and the strangest thing is that Heraklion was not the only city in the region to end up underwater. Other nearby cities, such as Canopus and Memphis, were also submerged without a trace in historical records. Some researchers believe that Heraklion may have been the victim of a geological collapse, where the combination of unstable soils and rising sea levels slowly sank it. But there's an even more intriguing theory. What if it wasn't a simple natural disaster? Some believe the city was intentionally destroyed and its history erased from Egyptian records, but why? One important clue is that Heraklion was known for its connections to mysterious religious cults, including rituals involving offerings to the gods of the underworld. Could it have been punished by the gods like the mythical Atlantis? What is certain is that Heraklion is proof that history still holds secrets, and that beneath the waters of the Mediterranean, more civilizations that time chose to bury could still be hidden. 4. Teotihuacan, Sedati Asawa, the city of the gods. About 40 kilometers from Mexico City lie the majestic ruins of Teotihuacan, one of the most impressive civilizations in history. Its enormous pyramids of the sun and the moon, its perfectly aligned streets, and its mysterious architecture have baffled historians and archaeologists for centuries. But there's something even more enigmatic. No one knows who built Teotihuacan. When the Mexica Aztecs arrived at the city in the 14th century, it was already completely abandoned. They marveled at its grandeur and called it the place where men become gods. For them, it was a sacred site, but its true origin remains a mystery. The mysteries of Teotihuacan. Unlike other pre-Hispanic civilizations, there are no written records about its rulers or its people. There are no inscriptions indicating the names of kings, founding dates, or chronicles of its decline. It's as if the history of Teotihuacan had been intentionally erased. But what has been discovered is impressive. A complex urban system with planned streets and buildings that demonstrate an advanced knowledge of mathematics and astronomy, enigmatic murals depicting strange figures and mysterious rituals, remains of liquid mercury found in tunnels beneath the Pyramid of the Sun and the Temple of the Feathered Serpent. This is where the theories get even more interesting. The mystery of liquid mercury, the discovery of liquid mercury at Teotihuacan, baffled archaeologists. In ancient times, mercury was an extremely rare and difficult material to obtain. Some cultures used it in religious rituals, but at Teotihuacan, it seems to have had an even more mysterious purpose. One theory suggests that the tunnels under the pyramids were designed to imitate the underworld, and the liquid mercury represented sacred rivers where the gods traveled. But another hypothesis takes the mystery even further. Some believe the mercury may have been used for advanced technological purposes. What for? That is an unanswered question. Why did the inhabitants of Teotihuacan disappear? One of the greatest mysteries of Teotihuacan is its abrupt abandonment. There is no evidence of wars or invasions to explain its fall. However, archaeologists found traces of massive fires in the city center. This has led experts to theorize that an internal rebellion may have caused the city to collapse. Perhaps the lower classes rose up against their leaders, burned temples and palaces, and then simply disappeared. But there are those who believe the answer could lie in something much stranger. Some theories suggest that Teotihuacan was a center of contact with beings from other worlds due to its advanced astronomical knowledge and precise alignments with the stars. Could it have been a site of connection between gods and humans? The enigma continues. What is certain is that Teotihuacan remains one of the most enigmatic cities in the world. Despite centuries of excavation, much remains to be discovered beneath its pyramids and hidden tunnels. Who were the real inhabitants of this city? What caused them to disappear? And what other secrets might be buried beneath its ruins? Perhaps the answer is still waiting to be found. Time varies, but history always resurfaces. Throughout time, cities have been born, prospered, and in many cases disappeared without a trace. Some were buried by the fury of nature, others were swallowed by the sea, and many seem to have been intentionally erased from history. But they all have one thing in common: their stories cannot remain hidden forever. Humanity has discovered only a tiny fraction of what once existed. Some theories suggest that there is still much hidden from us. Why? Perhaps because finding certain cities could completely change what we know about our origins, our history, and our true purpose on this planet. What if the history we know is only part of the truth? History is not erased, it just waits to be discovered. If there's one thing these cities teach us, it's that the past never completely disappears. There are always vestiges waiting to be found, and every unearthed ruin reminds us that history is bigger and more complex than we imagine. But the question is, are we ready to face what really happened? Perhaps there are more cities waiting to be discovered, and with them, answers that could change everything. Keeping the mystery alive. If you enjoyed this journey through cities buried in time, subscribe and turn on notifications. On this channel, we'll continue exploring the mysteries that history has tried to hide, and maybe together we'll find the answers. Leave me a comment. Which of these cities impacted you the most? Do you know of another lost city that should be in a future video? Remember, what is hidden today can change our history tomorrow. See you in the next video, if history allows it. So let's keep exploring the planet.